Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. Good day. And this comedian, Michael Jr., is great, and he's got a great point, but I think there's even more. We've all been set up, and he's going to set us up, and we're going to see how we deliver a punchline. But again, he's a comedian. This is TEDx. I'll give you the link to this. Had more than 2 million views. I liked it, but there's more to it than what Michael can say here.
Ask them what school they go to. You get a nice, quick answer. What school you go to? USC? New York University. You get a nice, quick answer. What school you go to? NYU? Ask somebody to go to community college. You get a much longer response, don't you? What school you go to? Well, see, right now, what I'm doing, I'm gonna get a couple credits, right? Then my financial aid is supposed to come through. Then I'm gonna transfer, man. They say school kills creativity anyway, man. I feel vulnerable. Is Brene Brown around, man? I feel really vulnerable right now.
Now you gotta remember he's talking at the University of Nevada, Reno. Let's go on here. He's good at what he does, knows no two ways about it.
Place in one way or another, but specifically with regards to stand-up, this is how it works as well. First there's a setup, and then there's a punchline. Let me explain. The setup is when a comedian will use his talents and resources to seize any opportunity to ensure that you, the audience, are moving in the same direction. The punchline occurs when he changes that direction in a way you're not expecting. When you catch on to this change, you've received the punchline. The results are revelation, fulfillment, and joy expressed through laughter.
Now, pretty funny. Anyhow, if you relate these things to life, then you realize that we're all set up, and we all have setups that we have to work with or against, and we all deliver a mindset or punchline, which may or may not be beneficial. Let's go on here.
It was a handicap from my past. I noticed even what people say sometimes. Have you ever heard the phrase, boy, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall?
Now let's back up. He talked about the reading handicap that he had, and he had to look at words 7 different ways to read them or pronounce them or understand them, and this has helped in his comedy. But this idea about the fly, says, I wish there was a fly on the wall. This is really important, more than we may understand. Fly doesn't have ears. He's going to explain this.
Every time I hear that, I walk up to the person and I say, and then what? No. You want to be a fly on the wall so you can hear the information that was in the room. Well, I've done the research. Flies don't have ears. Yeah. You would be just as ignorant as you currently are.
Now he's done the research. A lot of us don't do the research. We don't put in the time to figure out what we need, where we want to go, and how we're going to deliver it.
But you would be a fly. Nobody even listens to a fly. I mean, let's say you're a fly that could read lips. What are you going to do with the information? And you got 2 days to live. You're making bad choices.
So, really well done, but there's a lot more to what he says here. A lot more. I'm going to give you a link to this. This is worth listening to more than once.
You can't let this one loss get you down.
I forgot to set up here. Let's back up. He was working at a place and drove around a car that he shouldn't have been and got fired.
Spin. The company found out and my boss lost the account. He was yelling at me and screaming. I didn't know what to say or do. I thought back to my high school football coach. I looked at my boss. I was like, you know what, man? You win some, you lose some, man. You can't let this one loss get you down. The important thing is I went out there and I had fun.
This football coach mentality is not really the best situation to be in. It's all going to backfire on you.
And I got fired, man. I got fired right now. Actually I do play some basketball. I didn't want to perpetuate stereotypes, but it's true. But in basketball, you're supposed to run and jump. I don't really feel like doing both all the time. So some friends recently took me ball hunting.
That's called golf for him. That's another situation. You gotta listen to it all. I'm not gonna give it all away. Some of this stuff is really funny.
And he's suing the league for $400 million.
Okay, so this guy got hit in an eye with a flag, and as they called it, blindness, caused blindness. And he's suing this league for $400 million. And he's in this comedian club, high-level comedian club, with Jay Leno and other great comedians. And he doesn't know what to say, but he's listening to this. Here goes.
He's not going to see half of it.
They ask him, what does he think about it? And he says he's not going to see half of it because the lawyer's going to get his share too.
Like, for real. So here's the thing. How did I get that joke that fast under that much pressure? The truth is, it wasn't as much pressure as you might think, because I had been practicing since I was a child in the form of a kid who was having a hard time reading. I was practicing just like you've probably been practicing. You just didn't know you were practicing. I'm here to let you know you've been practicing. And for a lot of you guys, it's game time. It's game time. So now I'm in the club. And I'm performing there. This was probably like 7, 8 years ago. And I'm headlining at the club. And right before I get on stage, I had a change in mindset about comedy.
Now notice this point here. Change in mindset. As we get changes in mindset and skill sets, if we're set up right, it'll help us deliver a lot better in our lives. Listen to this.
Most of the time when a comedian gets on stage, he wants to get laughs from people. And I felt a shift take place. Instead of going up there to get laughs from people, I felt like I was supposed to give them an opportunity to laugh. I did a little prayer and I clearly felt like I was supposed to give an opportunity to laugh. This changed everything. Because now I'm not looking to take, I'm simply looking for an opportunity to give. This is why we now go to the homeless.
Now, looking for an opportunity to give. How are we going to look for an opportunity to give? This is interesting. What skills and abilities, what mindsets do you have that you can look for an opportunity to give and help people as you give? Serve people as you give. Very important question.
Shelters and all these places. In fact, that very night when I leave the stage, I'm outside, people want autographs, we're hanging out, taking pictures, and I look across the street and I saw a homeless guy. I had never seen a homeless guy outside this club before, ever. But that doesn't mean he wasn't there before. That just means before, my mind...
See, his mindset wasn't that way. Now it was. This little shift in mindset made all the difference in his service as a comedian.
Mindset was to get laughs from people, so why would I even notice them? But now I changed my mindset and I see this homeless guy and I have the thought, what about him? How could I give him an opportunity to laugh? And that's when we started doing homeless shelters and prisons and making laughter commonplace in other non-common places. So now, as a result of doing that, we went to this one place. We went to Montrose, Colorado. It's a facility for children who are being abused by their parents. And I'm hearing all of these stories, and this grandmother tells about her grandson who is so afraid of his mom because he's on drugs. She's been abusing him, and one of the things she's been doing is she's been pulling out his toenails. So I hear this.
So anyhow, he's at this abused place. He's thinking about how he can give. This kid's got the Spider-Man costume on and mask on. And what's he going to do?
Story, and they bring all these kids inside, and Spider-Man is sitting right up. This little boy is so afraid of his mom, everywhere he goes, he wears a Spider-Man costume. He's sitting right up front at the show. If my mindset was still to get laughs from people, there's no way I would have been able to do the show. But my mindset changed, so now I have to do the show. So I get up on stage, and people start laughing slowly but surely. 20 minutes in it, I hear a voice come from right here, and the voice says, "My name is Ronan." And this little boy pulls off his mask and introduces himself to me in a way, and I can't even tell you what it meant to me. And he started talking to me for like 9 minutes like I wasn't doing a comedy show at the time. But it was all because I made this shift. I made this change, and I said simply, instead of trying to get, I'm going to see if there's an opportunity to give. If you can make this a...
Now listen to this. Listen to this. This is so key.
Adjustment, it will change your life for the good. If you're a mechanic, you may think you get paid to fix vehicles, but if you can make this shift, you will recognize you help people reach their desired destination. That will put your alarm clock out of business. My senses are there's a lot of people out there still hitting the snooze button. Before I bounce means to vacate the premises. I'd like to explain to you how life works, at least from a comedian's perspective. First, there's a setup, and then there's a punchline. Your setup is your talents, your resources, and your opportunities. And most of the
How have you set yourself up for future success and for future giving and for future benefit to others? Think about that. We can always change that setup and do better and give better, become better, do more, become more.
the time we use our setup to ensure that the people around us are moving in a direction that serves us, which means the punchline occurs when you change that direction in a way they're not expecting. You actually use your setup for other people. The results are the same yet multiplied. Revelation, fulfillment, and joy. But it's not just for the one receiving your punchline. It is absolutely for you as you deliver the punchline. In fact, if I ask the question to everyone here, everyone watching, if I ask you this question, how many people here know what your setup is? Every one of you would be able to tell me. Because your setup is the fact that you have a house, a car, you've been married, you went to school. Your setup is about what you've received. But what if I ask the question, what is your punchline? Because your punchline is about what you're called to deliver. And if you
think about this, what are you called to deliver? We have divine nature, we have divine gifts, we have skills and abilities. Some of us know about those skills and abilities and those mindsets and those gifts, and we automatically use them, like breathing. Other of us have to find out what those are and learn how to deliver them. Think about this.
only know your setup and not your punchline, you'll make the mistake of trying to add more setup. If I could just get another degree, if I could just get married, if I could just lose weight. But what you really need is to know your punchline. Again, because to know your setup and not your punchline is an uncomfortable place to live. Let me give you an example. How many people are still thinking about the story of me and the CEO on stage?
Now, see, he talked about a CEO, and usually he gets a stage by himself. He doesn't do it with other individuals. The CEO is standing right beside him on stage and has the mic. He's wondering, when's this guy going to leave? When am I going to get the mic? We never got the finish of that story. And so some of us are still thinking about that beginning story, the setup that he gave us at the beginning. He never answered that question, and he still doesn't.
The reason all you guys are still thinking about that story is because all you have is the setup. You don't have the punchline. Yet we've moved on and allowed ourselves to be entertained like there wasn't something missing. So we'll go to a comedy show or a football game or a concert, even though there's something missing. And that's just the story I told you 10 minutes ago. What about your story? You've been living it your entire life, and if all you know is the setup and not the punchline, you are living in an uncomfortable place. And please be clear, just like when I had a hard time reading as a child, your setbacks are part of your setup so you can deliver the punchline you're called to deliver. Much like a slingshot, the further you've been set back, the further you're going to reach. But what are you going to aim for?
We're going to end it there. That's a good question to end on. This is a great little comedy session by Michael Jr. I'll give you a link to this. Watch it, enjoy it, like it, share it, and apply it. Again, just watch Marvin Village, Montana. Good day.